Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture, and man, Avengers Endgame.
Whoa. This is a spoiler-free zone.
Fair enough.
Well, apart from the wrestling spoilers, of course.
Also fair enough.
Coming up, news on WWE attempting to sign a controversial indie star.
Another WWE name change.
The latest on Luke Harper's release.
And another WWE wrestler moving brands.
This is the news.
But we're going to lead things off with a potentially big update on one of your favourite wrestlers, the comment section. I am, of course, talking about Daniel Bryan, who hasn't been seen since WrestleMania 35, when he wrestled Kofi Kingston in that Instant Classic. Now, we've already spoken about this injury, or whatever the heck's going on, several times over the past few weeks, but there is a new update. So it's a two-pronged one. The first one comes from PW Insider, who notes that Bryan wasn't backstage at this week's SmackDown tapings, and it isn't currently clear whether or not he's going to participate in the upcoming European tour, which I believe takes place in May, even though he is advertised, and he won't be at TV next week either. Now, the other update comes from Brad Shepard. He's a former WWE writer. He hosts the Oh You Didn't Know wrestling show, which is quite a nice little day.
Yeah, I like that.
Not bad stuff. He has an update on the injury quite specifically, and I've got a direct quote here from Mr. Shepard. So you may have heard the report that Daniel Bryan has an injury. He hasn't been on TV. The situation is being intentionally kept quiet at a specific person's request, and unfortunately I can't go into any further detail other than to say he's injured. It's not his head, good news. It's not overly serious, also good news, but it's bad enough for him to take some time off. Now, pinch of salt here, it is only one source, and Shiggity Shagger Dave has come out in the Wrestling Observer newsletter this week and said that there's no news on Daniel Bryan, which kind of counteracts this, but if this is true, it's somewhat encouraging, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the silence around Daniel Bryan's injury was deafening. Everyone was really concerned that, oh God, we watched Kofi Kingston, having been stomped on himself, stomp Daniel Bryan's head into the mat.
Yep.
And, no fault of Kofi Kingston's here, but you obviously get concerned when you then don't see him in the following weeks on TV or hear anything about him. Having said all that, if this is the case, and he is a little bit injured, but not seriously, I say this all the time and I feel terrible about saying it, that might be good in storyline. Because if he can go away, be injured, but doesn't have to tweet, don't worry guys, it's not my head, I'm not in, it's not, career threatening, for example, and then could come back in a couple of months and be like, oh, no one even worried about me when I got injured again, and comes back and, you don't want Kofi to immediately face Daniel Bryan again because there's money in that feud. If they can hold off on that for a rematch at, say, SummerSlam, I'd watch it.
Yeah, 100%. There's still plenty of mileage in that story, I think, even though we had that big cathartic WrestleMania moment. Ideally, you want this injury to be something like, I don't know, a sprained ankle, an ingrown toenail, something like that, because obviously Daniel Bryan's concussion history, it made this whole thing very, very troubling. Several members of the WhatCulture office are just kind of sitting there twitching every time the guy's name comes up in news, expecting it to be something horrific. But glad he's seemingly in a better state than was initially reported, so let's hope that Mr. Shepard is accurate.
Regardless, whatever happens, all of us here at WhatCulture wish Daniel Bryan a full recovery very soon. You bastard.
Planet needs him.
Right, let's move on to this controversial indie star that WWE are apparently meant to sign. And yes, it is the guy you're thinking of, Joey Ryan, friend of the channel, my best friend, the penis guy, could be getting signed by WWE, according to Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer. This is mad.
This is something else, isn't it? Joey Ryan.
We love him.
I adore Joey Ryan. I think he deserves all the credit in the world for creating what he has, for building his brand, for carving his own niche in the wrestling industry, as penis-based as it is. It's just, what the hell are a PG, family-based, kids-first entertainment company gonna do with Joey Ryan? Can break this down for me, brother, because I'm a bit confused.
I have an idea, and if you'd let me just have the floor for a second.
Of course.
We've all been looking for the guy to retire The Undertaker. And I'm suggesting a man who had penis druids. You could have the druids versus the penis druids at Survivor Series or something. And then at WrestleMania 36, the dead man gets penis flipped by Joey Ryan. 1, 2, 3. Joey Ryan absorbs all of The Undertaker's power into his groin.
I love
There's your storyline for years to come.
Finally, we have the perfect answer to
got
that
it.
question we get asked every single
Yes.
week. Oh man, this is really something else. There's some extrapolation in Dave's write-up where he talks about how, like, you know, Joey Ryan's 39 years old and all this other stuff.
They've offered him a deal, haven't they? But, well, the rumour is that they've offered him a deal where he would spend a few years wrestling for WWE and then go into sort of a trainer role.
Yeah, some kind of coach
But he's
thing.
one of very, well, not very few people, but he's one of those people who is making so much money on the indies, as you mentioned, with that real niche that he's carved out for himself, and just being a generally lovely bloke. If he went to WWE, it'd arguably be sort of a demotion because he'd make less money.
Yeah, almost certainly. It's kind of nuts. Like, the guy's success is absolutely phenomenal. I absolutely love his mind for the business. I think it's absolutely tremendous stuff. But you've got to wonder if WWE contacting Joey Ryan is maybe a way of spiting someone like, I don't know, AEW, who you've got to imagine are very, very much interested in this guy now that he's free of his Lucha Underground contract.
He's always on Being the Elite and stuff like that.
Exactly. He's a friend of the boys. He gets all the hype in the world, whether you like what he does or not, and a lot of people don't. He is a big name. He generates buzz. He's good at what he does, and WWE are in the market for anyone who's in that bracket.
I don't think it's going to happen, but we'd love to see him in WWE. But if not, we've always got ravishing Robert Roode, haven't we?
Absolutely. We only need one mustache twirler on this roster. So, you know the Viking Raiders?
Is that what they're called this week?
Yeah, remember when they were the Viking Experience?
Yeah, I remember when they were War Machine.
Remember when they were War Raiders?
Yeah.
Well, guess what, my friend?
Don't say it.
They might be set for another name change, their third in 10 days.
Jesus
This
Christ.
is absolutely ridiculous. So the new name that they could potentially, Eric and Ivar, could potentially be switching to...
Is it Rowan Hansen just to screw everyone?
If only. It is the Young Bucks. No, it is the Viking Warriors. So, this came out as part of a survey issued by the WWE Fan Council, who attempt to gauge fan opinion via a short series of questionnaires every now and then. They asked the question, which of the following WWE Superstar shake-up brand changes are you most excited about seeing? And just looking at the list on their question here, they've got Heavy Machinery to SmackDown, the Singh Brothers on SmackDown, weird, Roman Reigns on SmackDown, Cedric Alexander on Raw, Lars Sullivan on SmackDown, and the Viking Warriors on Raw. What, Wilburn, what the hell is going on?
So, just to clarify, at TakeOver they had one name, Raw they had another name, Raw after that they had a different name, and now online they've got...
4 names in 2 weeks?
You know this survey they're doing?
Yes.
Maybe they should have done that with a bloody team name beforehand and decided on what they liked.
Which one of these do you like?
Look, we've said a million times, they are fantastic. And I didn't mind whatever they just got names to. I'm so confused now. I didn't mind that, and I quite like the fact that they've now got the name of their finisher, the Viking Experience, over because of all the furore around
All the silly bollocks.
Yeah, but you can't change it again.
We should say that there's every chance this is a mistake. You know, these survey people are WWE guys. They're not just some goobers on the internet like us. They are, well, top level goobers, obviously. They're company affiliated. They may just have, I don't know, had a little slip of the old typo in there. Warrior instead of Raider. I know it's kind of weird. I'm kind of making excuses for them here. But if these guys come out on Raw as the Viking Warriors, are they just going to change their name every week?
Let's go back to the war, which is the whole reason why we had to change their name in the first place. And what about Join the Raid? They said that about 1 million times on Monday Night Raw.
Fannies.
Right, let's move on to the latest on Luke Harper's release from WWE, which, well, isn't happening according to WWE, and especially according to Dave Meltzer in this week's Wrestling Observer. Of course, we reported recently that he did the big social media post akin to Ty Dillinger, and presumably he thought, well, Ty did that and then immediately got released. The same's going to happen to me. Nope. WWE have told him basically they will not be releasing him from his contract, and furthermore, in a great weird flex but okay from WWE, the time he had off for the wrist injury, I think it was?
Yes, that's right.
The time he had off for that is being added on to his contract. So, in the rules, Luke Harper will not be released until just before next WrestleMania.
Wow. So, yeah.
So they might have plans for him, or they could just be being like, you ain't going nowhere.
They might just be being bastards, eh? So, breaking this down, his contract expired November, was it? Add 6 months just before WrestleMania, gets released, add 3 months for the non-compete. The earliest time this guy could feasibly be wrestling elsewhere is next summer, July, when he'll be, 40, 41, something like that? This is really harsh. Like, I mean, WWE it's part of the independent contractor's contract. It's something that they seemingly have the power to do with their bulletproof legal team and stuff. But man, this just seems really mean. Like, Luke Harper what is he to WWE? He's just kind of a guy. Like, he's really good, don't get me wrong. Like, I love Luke Harper. If they did something with him, yeah. Yeah, he could be something more than he is. But to them, he's kind of just a piece on this massive roster. And while, it's not all about being nice to your mates and all this stuff and about being good stuff. And he could potentially be an asset elsewhere, so it's understandable that they haven't just cut him loose straight away. And we talked last week about how they definitely weren't just going to let him go like that.
Yeah.
They were probably going to hold him on to November. Adding 6 months for the injury, it just comes off kind of spiteful and
yeah, but it's WWE.
Nice.
What do you expect? I hope this is because they want to try and convince him to stay, and then they are working on maybe getting some storylines worked for him. But yeah, I didn't even think about that. Next July, because everyone was booking like, right, great, we just get to see Luke Harper versus Dean Ambrose effectively on the Indies, and now we might never see Luke Harper on the Indies again.
It's a real shame, and I hope it works out well for Big Luke.
Best of luck, mate. Hope this works something out.
Quick one to wrap things up. We have another couple of wrestlers moving brands. Remember when the Superstar Shake-Up lasted for 2 days?
Yeah.
And now it lasts for 2 weeks. So, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, that'll do. They wrestled a dark match before this week, SmackDown losing to Heavy Machinery. They have now been drafted to SmackDown outright. This is per Shagger Dave in this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter. On top of this, according to PW Insider, WWE have just registered a trademark for B-Team University. That could be a new name for the B-Team, or maybe like a segment series a la like the Fashion Files, something like that.
Oh, that might be good. I was going to say, my reaction to this was going to be... But yeah, a little silly segment.
Yeah, I mean, they're fun jobber characters. The SmackDown tag division is in a pretty crappy place at the moment. I think like the Usos are gone, the Bar are split up, Big E is injured, so Xavier Woods and him can't really do anything. Jeff Hardy has an injury, which puts him and Matt's tag title reign in jeopardy. Yeah, like, I mean, we can sit here and talk about the B team.
Don't worry, though, guys. The B team are here.
And that's what. Yeah, that's it. Like, we can sit here and talk about how good they are as jobbers, and they are good jobbers.
Right.
They might have to play a role. So, yeah, let's move on. This
let's
is
move
weird.
on to your Twitter questions. You can navigate, you can tweet them at us at WhatCulture WWE. We'll start with a question from Malwande, I hope I got your name right there, who says, I think Lars might just be the latest version of Vladimir Kozlov, and I have a bad feeling they'll end up the same. Just a few high-profile losses. What do you think?
I think that is quite harsh on Lars. I think that Lars is better at everything than Vladimir Kozlov.
He's a lot more eloquent.
He is. He speaks really well.
He doesn't look like that because he's just shouting and spitting at the moment. But
yeah, no, he does. He cuts a good promo, as anyone who has seen him in NXT knows. He is a good to very good wrestler, I think. He has an incredible look for a monster. He's just a big, ugly, granite cast brute. And that's what monsters should really look like. But the thing for me is that he plays his character with such intensity in these segments, even if he's just like slamming R-Truth or whatever. He looks really good doing it and really convincing. I think that his ceiling is a lot higher than Vladimir Kozlov's, who was just kind of this big orc.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do with him in the coming weeks and months. Next question comes from Carl McConville, who says, do you think Becky will defend both titles at Money in the Bank, but lose one after a cash-in, because it would be a great opportunity because she wrestled 2 times before on the show?
Yeah, really good shout. I do think she'll lose one of the belts at Money in the Bank. I think that the weird fantasy booking scenario I concocted in my head was that she'd overcome Charlotte in a really hard-fought SmackDown match, maybe 20 minutes, really good stuff. And then because she's kind of exhausted or injured or whatever, Lacey Evans would just be a git and kind of like take
a match immediately after or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Back to back.
But cash-in makes just as much sense.
I kind of hope they don't do a cash-in, because we obviously had the one at Money in the Bank last year, and then Carmella's was relatively soon after she won the briefcase.
It wasn't massively long, and Dean Ambrose a couple of years ago.
I think the men's is probably going to hold on to it for a while, and I especially want whoever wins the women's Money in the Bank briefcase, because it really adds that to a character of someone.
Yes.
Like, yes, you can immediately hotshot them and make them champion, but it sort of puts you on like it's almost like a mid-card title sort of thing in terms of the fact you can walk around, you could defend it, people could challenge you for it. I know we had Braun and Kevin, but that doesn't really count. But yeah, I hope they don't do an immediate cash in, but I'm kind of inclined to believe that they will try and take one of the belts off Becky at Money in the Bank.
They probably will.
Andrea asks our final question of today, which is, what do you think of having Randy Orton be Kofi Kingston's next opponent after Kevin Owens? They can hash up the whole stupid thing.
Get in my veins.
Yeah, I love Randy Orton. I love his new, well, not that new anymore, but just git ear fingering
Psycho
character.
Man. Yeah, it would be really great stuff, and Kofi's the perfect guy to do it against because he's such a likable, affable, like just a great guy against this absolute colossal bastard in Randy Orton. I am all in on that idea.
Right, let's move on to today's and final. And you might have seen this doing the rounds, just a little comparison between how Vince treats some of his wrestlers and his blood. Here is what Vince McMahon said to John Cena on his birthday on Twitter. Happy birthday to WWE's Babe Ruth, John Cena! Exclamation mark. I really can't describe in words how much John Cena, tagged for a second time for some reason, means to me and the WWE universe. Hashtag hustle, loyalty, respect, love. 2 pictures of John Cena, one with his shirt on, one with his shirt off. Let's compare that to when Shane McMahon, Vince's son, in real life had a birthday. It's a picture of Shane stood on a ramp wearing a shirt, just looking a little bit glum, to be perfectly honest. Happy birthday, Shane McMahon.
Wow. Yeah, that's...
Gee, thanks, Dad.
Do you think George Mizanin sounds a similar to
George showers Miz with presents.
Potato emoji, perhaps? Is there a potato emoji? Answers on a postcard.
Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And you can tweet us your Twitter questions at WhatCultureWWE. Whilst you're there, you can follow both of us. You can follow him at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for holy hell. I'm 31 years old and I stayed up for a midnight screening of The Avengers on a school night. Idiot.
You can follow me at Dan and Wilborn. As I said, follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching. We will see you soon.